The Sharks have a big lead. They fell apart, but they get the win, the shootout. It's been a long time, but welcome back to Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, Sharks fans and hockey fans all over the world. It is Thursday night, January 14th, 2021. It's been 310 days since the Sharks played a game, and they played a nice, epic one in the desert for their season opener of their 30th season, winning 4-3. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. If you're new here, this is a live and interactive Sharks postgame right here on YouTube. So chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app in our super chat. And of course, follow us on the social, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, you name it, you love it. And of course, find everything here at tealtownusa.com. Hi, everybody. I wish it was 4-0 Desert Dogs, but it ends up being 4-3 in a shootout. So much for my foreseen points in that case. I am joined by the guy who spells his name the right way, Erik, Landi. Landi, what's happening, bud?
Well, just like the Sharks, I guess we encountered some technical glitches there in the third period. But hey,
Right.
no, definitely good to be back. Good to watch some games, and rocking the 25th anniversary and ready to talk some hockey, man.
Right. It's good to be back. It's been way a long time, unless you were following me during the return to play where I covered that all. But let's get at it. Let's get at it, folks. Here's what we're going to do. Nonstop playing going on in the game here. Looked like the Sharks just...
we're not. I don't think we're live, Erik.
What?
Says it's still waiting. I don't know. Let's check the stream there for a second, because I still got it saying waiting on my page.
Really?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see. Did it just start? Is it?
Maybe just delayed?
Yeah. I think maybe so.
Yeah. Amanda's saying there may be two links. I'm getting everybody, so I don't get it. Yeah, we are live. Okay. Sorry for that. Technical problems, plenty, of course. I know. I'm just waiting for some weird issue going on there. But we apologize for the issue here. But let's get at it, Landi, shall we? First period, really, I thought everybody was jumping out of the gun. Sharks hadn't played in 10 months, hadn't really had a preseason. They only had like 2 weeks to get ready. Arizona, they were a part of the return to play. They shocked teams, but they didn't go far against Colorado in the playoffs. But the thing is, overall, I thought they played good early on, and it showed early. Hertl gets a power play goal after Hjalmarsson takes a hooking call to make it 1-0. I thought Hertl looked really solid, and everything for that matter so far this evening. His first of what would be 2 goals on the night.
Yeah, no, Hertl looked amazing, and I thought that his speed, physicality, everything looked like it was just looked like a rejuvenated player. And so to me, that was a really, really good sign. All 3 of them on that line tonight they just looked like they were on the tips of their toes. John Leonard, I mean, talk about a kid who, goes right into the frying pan and, has a 2-point night. It's awesome to see. It's good to see that he kind of elevated his game, and let's continue with the good work on that second line.
Yeah. They made it look really good. Hertl looks like a rejuvenated knee. I think even Ted Ramey had said, maybe the knee is better than it has been in quite some time. Along with, let's be honest here, Landi, a lot of rest, a lot of issues going forward. And good to see all around that that you're seeing a lot of good stuff coming through the team. Looks like it created a different live stream, and that's what's going on here. But we'll just keep going with this one for the time being, and make sure that you all will get this. So by all means, tell your friends that we are live on the air. We do this after every single Sharks games. Um, just a craziness all around, and in quite some time for us. But getting back to it, Chychrun, it's kind of funny. The Sharks get a power play at 12:31. They score at 12:43. 5 seconds later, Chychrun, takes a closing hand on the puck, which is one of those rare ones that you rarely see, and takes it to a whole new level. And that's the thing. It just ends up being another chance. The Sharks didn't do anything on this one, but right after that, though, right before the 3 minute to go mark, Hertl gets his second, and it's the first assist for John Leonard. Landi, you guys talked about it with Mark over the summertime, how great this was to see. Leonard gets his first point and assist on the Hertl goal. He would end up having a 2-assist night, which would tie Scott Hannon for 2 assists in his debut with the Sharks. First off, Hertl's goal, and secondly, what do you expect from the kid from UMass?
Yeah, for me, I think I was expecting a player who was responsible in his own zone, a player who's speedy, maybe not the most physical player, but just one of those real kind of Swiss Army knife guys. And, going through that first period, I thought he was like a fish in water. I mean, honestly, or in this case, a shark in water.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But I think he had a lot of poise out there, and he looked like a veteran. I mean, he made some plays in that in the second and third period, defensive plays in his own zone that were just key to breaking the puck out. Erik, the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and especially it was evident in that first period, was the sticks on the ice, the amount of breakups that the team had. I mean, I don't think I had seen more active sticks in a long, long time. I felt like it was block after stick block after body block. I just thought that there was a renewed sense of defense on the team. They were closing their guys off pretty well in that, in that neutral zone, and I thought their gap control was very good as well. Now, the 3 goals, we'll break them down. I think what we ended up seeing is the Sharks got lulled into the Arizona Coyote game a little bit, and I think that was the primary cause for, letting in those goals. But I think, to me, this was a very, very good sign in their defensive structure, and just I was very curious to see how they would come out, what the defensive structure would look like. And the other thing that really stood out to me was that far side winger is coming back further into the neutral zone and coming back further into the defensive zone. So I felt like the forwards were really chipping in. And like I said before, very, very active sticks. It was good to see.
Yeah, and getting in the lanes big time. You have to credit to the team working on their defensive structure, which I think that was a huge thing that they needed to do throughout the night. So, it's part of the defensive strategy, especially when the defense is going to be chipping into the offense, like Bugner and Thompson, and eventually John Madden when he gets all his visa issues taken care of. So, you credit to that. They looked really sharp at 2-0. Then second period, they started getting into penalty trouble. And I know that they had their number 1 power play, and I know they had a lot of time to test it, especially since Evander Kane led the league in the penalties. But you have Burns taking a high sticking call late in the first, and then you had another cross check to Burns. That
Kevin LeBanc, I believe, had one.
yeah.
And I believe it was Joel Shellman was the fourth penalty. So I think that is just kind of a little bit of or I think it's a symptom of rust, to be quite honest with you, Erik. And I think that at least with the Burns penalties, at least you can say that when he took those penalties, he was being physical, right?
Right.
It wasn't that he wasn't shying away from the play. He really got a good hit in on that cross check, and so those are the kind of penalties I don't mind, but the ones that really drive me nuts are the like Shellman's and LeBanc's. LeBanc's was just lazy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he was just throwing his stick out into the zone to try and break up the pass. Really, in that specific spot, he's really got to move his feet. He can't just try and lean over. Now, I will give you, he was kind of in an awkward position because it looked like he was kind of almost leaning up into the boards and then kind of contorting his body to get his stick back into the zone. However, if you know that you're not going to be able to get to the puck, then you need to have faith that the far side defenseman is going to come back over and cover for you. But yeah, in that position, that was a really tough one to take, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it was a tough one, and and then it leads to that 2-1 goal, which they eventually credited to Connor Garland on the power play from Dvorak and Chychrun. But they look like last year. They look like they had everything under control, and then they would take the penalty. LeBanc for the tripping call early in the third period. Then the no call, where I don't know how the heck they missed that Kemper literally used his skate blade, or not his skate blade, excuse me, his stick blade to clear the puck out and was outside the trapezoid.
Outside the trapezoid, yeah.
It's like, how did you change your mind on that one? That was an egregious call that got missed. Eventually, like half a minute later, they get another power play, but nothing would come out of that. Evander Kane, beautiful play on there to make it 3-1, and considering everything that he's gone through, something good for him, and that was a huge weight off of his shoulders.
Yeah, no, Evander Kane played with a lot of speed tonight. He played very physical, and really on that breakaway, it didn't start as a breakaway, but he used his feet, he got moving, and he created separation. And when Evander Kane has that fire lit under his ass, he is a tremendous player. I mean, and so when he plays with that kind of gusto, then he's going to be scoring quite a bit. So it was good to see him, get the 3 points tonight. Again, this is going to be, maybe hockey can be the outlet for him, because his personal life's a little chaotic, but maybe hockey can be that place that kind of grounds him. And if he can continue to stay in his game, continue to really play off of his strengths, then it's going to be a good season. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think in a way that's the sense for Evander overall is what we feel for us. Hockey comes back. It's a thing that we need to distract ourselves from, considering everything that's gone on in the last 10 months or the last 310 days without hockey. To the 74 of you, thank you for jumping on over to this side. Major technical errors, caused some issues early on, so we apologize for that, but we appreciate it. If you haven't hit it already, hit that subscribe button down below. We do this after every single game, and we appreciate you joining us in. AJ's bringing in some quotes from the coaching staff and the players. Let's get to some of them. Bugner, Leonard, hey, well, for his first game. I'm almost kicking myself for not putting him on the 4-on-3. He's earned his spot. And we hear about you know about the speed. Denver Doyle, good evening to you. Thoughts on the speed of the team? I thought it was completely on a completely different level from last year. Really jumped out at me. What did you think, Randy?
That third line, I think that third line really showed a lot of buzz tonight. I think that's going to be a strength. Ryan Donato came as advertised, very good in his own zone. Yeah. I think he had maybe one or two giveaways, but they weren't like the egregious kind. He had somebody kind of backing him up. So, okay, I can kind of get that. But the thing that I saw was both him and Leonard use the boards tonight to ice the puck without causing the icing. And again, very veteran, heady type plays that you don't normally see from kids of that age. Yeah. So, it's good to see that the fundamentals of what they learned during that compressed not off season, but the compressed camp. Yeah, it had really stick. Now the other thing, so the third line, as far as speed goes, very, very impressive. The fourth line also was very impressive too. I like Patrick Marleau. Sorensen had a really good look at the net. I thought he was kind of crashing, using his body, just more involved in the play than he was last year. So I think that's going to bode well for Sorensen. So I'm liking the makeup of the team. It's a team that is pretty speedy, right, and it's kind of got some feistiness to it.
Right, and it needs to stay disciplined. That's one of the things that really killed them last year. And granted, again, they had the number one penalty kill in the league, but that's the toughest part is to, if you keep going to that well, odds on are going to break it. As we get through the rest of the third period, where Keller, with 3:30 left, gets his first to make it 3-2. To me, I thought there was a lot of puck watching with Knyzhov and EK65. I thought Nieto missed a chance to stop that because he didn't have his head on a swivel. I think a lot of guys really could have prevented that. And then just crashing the net, you need to clear the garbage. We learned that from Mighty Ducks 2 people.
Yep.
I want to say I need to look at the scoring sheet because I believe it was Kessel, but I thought it was Goligoski that got that game-tying goal with 3 seconds left. I just thought, oh man, that's the last thing this team needed was that backbreaker with 3 seconds to go in regulation. They ended up giving it to Phil Kessel at 1956. Can we
go back to the Keller goal?
Yeah.
So Knyzhov there, he gets the puck, and then he kind of starts to curl around behind the net, and in that act he kind of fumbles the puck, and EK65 is right there, and EK has to be directing. He's the most veteran defenseman on the ice at that time. He's got to be talking and communicating with Knyzhov there. Knyzhov, you can understand, it's his first, he's only played a handful of games.
Right.
And so he's kind of got some jitters. So really in that specific spot, I would have liked to have seen EK directing the traffic a little bit more. Besides that, Knyzhov and Milosh they were okay. I don't think that they were a net minus tonight. But I also don't think that they really stood out too much. So I guess that's a pretty good thing for your third pair if they don't stand out in either kind of way.
Nothing and just kind of Prout like.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the guy that I thought looked really good on the defense tonight was Mario Ferraro. I think that he just basically turned the page from last year insofar as it's the same story with him. It's the continued speed. It's the continued physical presence. It's the really good stay at home. but also dropping in a couple, a couple of shots from the point as well. So his game is being elevated, and I think the other kind of question mark that I had was how was Mark-Edouard Vlasic going to look, and tonight he was pretty physical. I mean, he was clearing out the crease. I felt like he was, in fairly good position most of the time. There wasn't any egregious giveaways. So, I'd like to see more of that, and hopefully this is a trend of the steady Eddie again.
Right, and you hope so. You hope that steadiness, as you say, will help this team in the long run, which it needs to get through this season, because there were times where games like this did occur and it ended up being a loss for the Sharks. Speaking of which, Bugner says, we got in trouble halfway through. We made some decent plays and busted through, but there's still another level to our speed game. Kane was a monster tonight, used his strength and won all his battles. All around him and Hertl are two best forwards. Definitely kudos to both of them. I mean, Kane had a goal and 2 assists. Hertl had 2 goals and assists, and like we said, Leonard had 2 assists on the night here. Brian Osorio wants to know your thoughts on Donato's Sharks debut. You already kind of touched on it, that he was already looked like a really promising guy, especially if he's going to be centering the third.
No, I think Leonard needs to stay where he's at with Hertl and with Hertl and with Kane as far as John Leonard goes. Mm-hmm. And so far as Ryan Donato goes, I like him on that third line. I think he brings a little bit of skill. I think he also brings a little bit more defensive awareness in his own zone. So I think I really like that out of Ryan. And then you've got Noah Gregor there, who's got a little bit of size. He's also got a really great shot. I'd like to see him shoot the puck a little bit more. But I think he'll grow into that. I'm not so worried. I think, to me, this is the most cohesive that the team has looked in quite a long time. They have an identity, so to speak, and that identity tonight was just speed. Yeah,
and that's something that the Sharks needed for a number of years, and it showed. Trying to get through all the chat comments. Thank you all to the 90 that are watching. If you haven't already, of course, hit that subscribe button. We'll really appreciate it. Of course, hit that notification bell. That will recognize that you will get a notification when we do go on the air, and when mistakes that happen, you'll be able to catch that on there. Michael Demovsky, I thought Jones started off strong. They should be feisty after last year. Holy S, there's no Landi laundry in the view of the camp. We went over that during
yeah. Check it out. It's actually a solid wall back there, so no green screen in it for Landi. But no, I totally agree with you, Erik. I thought that Martin Jones looked really good tonight. To me, he looked like the quiet Martin Jones again. Yep. His feet were not moving. He didn't seem to have that anxiousness that was really plaguing his game last year. I felt that he challenged when he needed a challenge. I felt that he stayed propped up in the crease more often. Mm-hmm. He didn't revert to the butterfly, as quick. So I thought positionally looked very, very solid. It just night and day difference to me. And he was really spending a lot of time with Adam Francilla on his footwork. And I think you can definitely see that. And really, from a goalie, it starts with the bottom up. They say, goalies are probably like the worst skaters on your team. But in actuality, you got to start with the foundation when you're a goaltender, meaning your skates, hitting the ice, making sure that you've got good angles. And then you start working on, you get into your starting position. You make sure that you're that your vision is good and you're tracking the puck. Right. I thought he tracked the puck very, very well tonight. I mean, it showed on that 2-on-0 breakdown in the 3-on-3. I know we'll get there in a minute, but But yes, to me, he made the saves that he needed to make tonight. I mean, even though he let in 3 goals, he had a 919 save percentage. And, 919, if you can carry that through, that's playoff caliber goaltending.
And considering his stats from last year, you'll take 919 every night. Would be great. Hockey Mom, I think you know her, Landi. $15 super chat. Of course, if you donate with the super chat, it's great. Of course, if you want to hit us on Venmo at Teal Town USA, we get 100% of the money that gets donated to Venmo here. Continuing down on the chats here, we're trying to get caught up. Matthew Swanson was saying I felt our defense was a little hesitant tonight. There were some issues here, there. Burge Burge 7F91. Excuse me. What about Ferraro's role on the third goal though? Yeah, not exactly. Like I said, we need to clear out the garbage there for sure. Josh Dees looked like the old Pickles again. I still feel he was hurt last season. It's. I thought it would be, it'd be a little iffy, but I thought it was like pretty good for a night on like that. And if you don't hear any mess ups by Pickles, that's usually means a good night for him. Justin Denny, John Leonard is fast. Good God, it's refreshing to see some speed on this Sharks team. We've had guys on the wrong side of 30 for the longest time.
Yes, and I think just to hop one more, place one more accolade for the youngster there, is that John Leonard, his comparable was Joe Pavelski, and that is some mighty large gloves to fill. But to me, John Leonard is quicker, and I
definitely
think,
quicker.
And I think that he's got maybe some more adept passing than Joe did. So, I would say that, I'd like to see what his scoring touch looks like, how he's going to get his goals. But if he continues to play like he did tonight, he's definitely going to crack his first NHL goal. I'd say within the next 4 games. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets a goal, on the sheet. And then quickly, I wanted to just kind of run down the time on ice stats for the defense, because we had a couple of people asking us about the defensive game. So Mario Ferraro, 21 minutes tonight, clocking in the big minutes there. Marc-Edouard Vlasic, 26:47. Nicholas Milosh, 5 minutes 43 seconds.
Someone's took over for the Joachim Ryan of the defensive unit.
Yeah, exactly. Erik Karlsson, 32 minutes. Now, Erik Karlsson did play 4 minutes of power play time, and then 4 minutes of, I think it was 3 minutes of 3-on-3. So
right.
His stats are a little inflated. Yep. Knizov, 10 minutes, 53 seconds, and Burns, 27:45. So I like that Bugner definitely spread the love there on the minutes played. Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Brent Burns clocking in under 28 minutes, which is good. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see Marc-Edouard in the 25-minute area, and I'd like to see Burnsy in like the 26-minute area. But I think that's going to get better once Šimek comes back, and you've got a little bit more cohesiveness throughout the defensive pairings. I think right now we're still seeing a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of mix and matching. So I think it's going to be the defensemen are a little bit of a work in progress, but I think that they definitely have the pieces there. They definitely have the pieces there. And when Šimek gets back, or if eventually, you get a call up, like say they do try to get a call up eventually down the road, or even just in the future with Ryan Merkley, you want to see those minutes kind of balance out, because you can't play Erik Karlsson 32 minutes. You can't play Burns, 27:45. Even with 56 games, that's going to be an issue coming down the road, because that's going to be a problem. If this team wants to return to the Stanley Cup playoffs, which, many have said there's no way that's going to happen.
I think you have to make sure that everything stays balanced. Now, granted, these guys can take on those minutes, but you don't want them to hurt it too much. So, uh,
Yeah, Denver Doyle, excuse me, asking about Pashnuk or Middleton drawing into the lineup. It wouldn't surprise me if we get maybe a Middleton for Milosh kind of swap. I think Knyzhov played. I think he played good enough to earn another game.
right.
Um, I don't think he was horrible. I mean, just his stats. I mean, one shot on goal, 2 hits, 3 blocks. That was really good. A really good sign for him. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if Milosh draws out of the lineup and we see a Middleton go in, I think. Insofar as the time on ice for the forwards, really, really balanced here, Eric. There wasn't anybody that topped over 22 minutes.
Right.
So Evander Kane topping in at 19:28, Patrick Marleau at 10 minutes 29 seconds, Ryan Donato 12 minutes 22 seconds, Sorensen 11 minutes 47 seconds, Timo Meyer 17 minutes 29 seconds, Couture 19:37, John Leonard 13:14, Joel Shellman 12:07, Tomas Hertl 21:57, Kevin LeBanc 15 minutes 57 seconds, Noah Gregor 14 minutes 30 seconds, and Matt Nieto 17 minutes 48 seconds. So very, very well balanced.
Yeah, well
Forwards.
balanced on the forward side, which is always good to see. You can roll with 4 lines, and definitely no reason not to roll with 4 lines, in my opinion. Chris, hey, good to see you, bud. Hope you're doing well. They got to correct the breakout. That first pass was an issue all night. I was watching the Coyotes broadcast, and they kept calling that out as a strong area for the Desert Dogs. To me, that could be something that just wasn't ready to go early on, and maybe if there was a full camp, full season, maybe that's some of the little nuances that you might have seen. You might have seen rectified in like preseason and such. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I think that could be a small adjustment type of thing too, because remember, we're now kind of in the baseball style of series. So, it's going to be about who's going to be able to adjust to who in that next game. So I think that next game is going to be very, very interesting to
Right.
see how Boogie kind of shakes it up and kind of attack, how he's going to attack the Coyotes going forward. So I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Right.
I think that there were overall, I think that just in general, there were a lot of positives in this game.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
yeah, and I think that it showed us that this team can compete. I mean, mind you, it still is the Arizona Coyotes, right? So we're not going to get ahead of ourselves here, but definitely showed a team that was competing very hard. I mean, at the first 2 periods, I thought that they were changing lines so rapidly, and they were rolling 4 lines. And to me, when I see the Sharks rolling their lines and I'm seeing these quick shifts and I'm seeing really good changes, that tells me that the team is mentally in it. And then in that third period, they kind of got away from that. You started to see extended shifts. You started to see the Coyotes kind of pin them back into their own zone a few different times. I think it was kind of in the latter part of that second period going into the third period.
Yep.
But, like I said, it was kind of the Sharks getting lulled to sleep by the Coyotes, which they're known to do. And so it's just going to be interesting to see what the adjustment is there for the coaching staff to kind of remedy the going to sleep or the sleepy shark, in that second period. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But I think we have an overtime to talk about.
Yeah, we do. But let's get to some of the super chat donations too. Again, we appreciate the donations. This always goes back to the show, so we appreciate you immensely. Josh Dees, glad to see post-game live streams again. The podcasts are great, but These mean hockey. We appreciate it, Josh. We have the passion and we love it. Phantom0044 also making a donation. We appreciate that. Fanatical Teal Bleeder. I miss when Cali owned the Pacific. Yeah, I totally on there for sure. But Brian Osorio. Yeah, Arizona is a quick, young, and talented team offensively, especially with their great passing. Not too disappointed with our defense. Should have been worse. Yeah, I could definitely that. Mad Cow Jr. with the $10 super chat donation. Leonard, though I got high hopes for the kid, don't think he'll be a Crosby, Ovi, or McDavid level, but for sure will be a top 30 player in the league. That is some high hopes, and we're not trying to page Panic at the Disco, but Leonard really.
Yeah, no, I think that Leonard came in a little bit more mature than your standard college player. So I think that that's going to pay off for him. And I think his development and I think where he could go, what his ceiling could be. I think about like a Connor Sheary, or I think about who else would be kind of a winger in that mold? Maybe like a Patrick Hornquist or something. I don't know why I'm throwing out Penguins left and right. But
former Penguins, because Hornquist is with the Panthers now.
Right, that's true. And so I think that he's going to have a really good ceiling. I don't know that he'll be a top 30 player, but I think he'll definitely be a good player.
Yeah. No.
Oh, and by the way, your tax dollars at work, people, all of those super chats, got Landi a new background. So
those stipends finally kicked in. That's good. Chris GWS saying, I'm curious if the new baseball-like format makes for better matchups, or if we get bored with an opponent. I'm hopeful that it can foment a little more rivalry and become more like a playoff series. And considering that the first two playoff rounds you're going up against these same opponents, you're going to know those teams inside and out. It could end up being nasty ones. It could end up being, games where everything and know every nuance. You use that to your advantage, and it can be crazy though. But kind of like getting back to overtime. Big ups to Jones on that 2-on-0 save. I mean, he deserves serious props for that one. Landi, that was an unbelievable one, because when it was 2-0, I thought this game was over. The Coyotes were going to complete the comeback, and we are going to be pissed as F on it. And Jones came up with a big save, and outside that first goal in the shootout, he shut it down after a minor collapse, we'll say, at the end of the third period.
I totally agree with you, Erik. I think that Jones just looked poised.
Yeah.
He just looked like nothing was bothering him, which is a total 180 from from the last two seasons, because when he got maybe a goal that wasn't as clean that went in on him, or he messed up or whatever, you could see through his mask, and you could see his eyes darting back and forth, and he just had this anxious energy about him, and you could look at it in his footwork, where he just didn't seem to be very sure on his skates. To me, he always seemed like he was playing too far back in the net and just being very hesitant. I did not see any hesitation at all. I felt like this was a guy who really could feel in the moment, his strengths, going with his gut instead of kind of pre-anticipating something. It really a guy that's just kind of, he just let his natural instincts, take over and got out of his own head. And maybe that's what it is. Besides being physically fatigued. He might have had a lot of mental fatigue.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
From all the games played is what I meant, from the last 2.5 seasons. He's played. I think him and Holtby have played neck and neck for the most games in the NHL. So, I could buy into the fact that maybe the brain needed a reset there.
Yeah, and the fun part about it too is, is that you had this rest and you had 10 months off. So yeah, you're not going to have any excuses for any injuries. The concern, of course, we can talk about Šimek, but we'll let him heal and get back to things. And it sounds like he's going to, get back to things, hopefully soon, by the time they get to St. Louis for their 2-game series this week. So
he did have an MRI, and there's no structural damage. For everybody asking or anybody wondering about Šimek, is he did have the MRI, no structural damage. He's just going to be. I think he's going to be hampered for the rest of his life with scar tissue. With scar tissue issues. I know that some people and some players react better to the knee surgeries than others. We just have to look at Joe Thornton and the way that he rejuvenated after his,
right.
Or you look at Tomas Hertl and how he's rehabbed and rejuvenated, or you look at a guy like Milan Malhalik who had it done, and after that he was never the same player again. Or Rafi Torres, basically after he put the cadaver MCL in his knee, he didn't play again.
Right.
So it really is just dependent upon the body, and I hope that Radim can gain the confidence to put more weight on it, to really flex it and to really push it. But if he's having it depends on how hurt he really is, or how injured he really is. If it's like a soreness, nagging kind of thing, then I have some hope. But if it's some serious pain, I wonder about his career.
Yeah, and that's a concern. It is in Chris. When we've talked about a Hertl injury before, he's mentioned in the past for his knee surgeries for that. Josh Dees with another donation. I probably can't read the whole thing, but we'll get through it. You know what, Landi? You're right. I never thought about he looked like a virgin. We'll just leave it there for there. Chris, you wanted any last final thoughts on this game before we get to what apparently everybody's waiting for?
Reach around?
Apparently people have wanted. I wasn't even thinking about doing it this year, but again, thank you for the donations. Please consider Venmo so Google doesn't take all of it. Teal Town USA on the Venmo. But you asked for it and you wanted it, and we're here to deliver for you. It is time for the wraparound.
Have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
I say wrap around, you say reach around. Same thing. We'll just quickly go over these because, of course, you can do it at Hockey Church.
Hashtag
cancel the reach around. Yeah. Capitals win 6-4 in Taylor Hall's debut in Buffalo with those beautiful, newish, oldish royal blue jerseys. They win
just plain better jerseys.
Right. Exactly. Hall did get a goal in his debut. Dilly with the first of a year from Shiri and Lars Eller on the wrist shot in the second period. Good on Dilly. Hope well wishes to him as he begins his first full season in DC. Bruins win in the shootout over the Devils 3-2. In that one, Marchand gets the opening goal in that one. The Battle of New York, that goes to the Islanders 4-0 as I almost said Ian LaPerriere. Lafreniere makes his debut, but the Rangers get shut out at home. 3-0 the final of Hurricanes over the Red Wings. Although I thought it was really, really good on that one. So Jets beat the Flames. That's a good one for in the Pacific. The Knights were winners over the Ducks for sure. And so that is that with going on in the NHL. I think the
Wi-
Kings had the
wild.
wild.
Yep.
Yeah, the Kings wild win in overtime 4-3. That one just went final there. So that being said, we have a game on Saturday afternoon. It is a 1 p.m. start against the same Desert Dogs to finish up the 2-game series. Could Devin Dubnyk get the start? We saw some of that with Vancouver playing Edmonton. Braden Holtby got into the first game, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Thatcher Demko got in there. I'm trying to pull that up here. Yeah, Demko got in on this one. So whoever it is, would you like to see Dubnyk get the start, or would you rather go, since Jones played fairly well with a .919 save percentage, to do that? Go with Dubnyk, or you go with Jones? What do you think?
Well, you don't want to crush a guy's confidence after he had a good night, but you also want to set a precedent for shifting and sharing the load. So to me, it behooves Bugner to throw in Dubnyk, if not for just anything else than kind of, shaking it up and letting the Arizona Coyotes see a different goaltender, because to me, again, I'm a little. I think the jury is still out for me on Dubnyk. That 7-0 Teal, or that 7-2 Teal and White game, where he just got shellacked, did not really inspire a lot of confidence. So, but then again, you do want to get a veteran goalie in there. So I don't know. You could make the argument either way, but I think we'll probably see Jones again.
Yeah.
Is what I think. And Erik, I mean, before we go any farther, I think we got to talk about jerseys, since we're both the Jersey boys here.
Mm-hmm.
The Kachina peyote jersey, man. Nice.
Beautiful. And I love what they did, because it is the Coyotes' 25th anniversary. A silver outline instead of the burgundy. Nice touch. I think that looks really...
The crescent moon logo at the center ice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Good to see the Coyotes embracing what really worked for them. You love to see it. So in case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher. You can see all of them listed down below, whether it's Apple, Google Podcasts, YouTube. Of course, we would love for you to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate over the 2,130 people that subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, like we said, we appreciate you listening on the SoundCloud or the Spotify, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio. We're always there on there. We've had some great interviews. AJ's interviewed with Ted Ramey. I interviewed Randy Hahn.
Who haven't we interviewed?
Yeah, I think the only one that we're missing from the broadcast team right now is Brett Hedican. So we'll see on that. But with that, John, welcome back, Teal Town USA. $2 super chat donation, appreciate it as always. But with that, Landi, Landi, did you go away, Landi? Uh-oh. I think he jumped over to the Discord server right now. AJ's put the Discord link in the live chat, so the conversation will continue over there on the After Dark channel. Appreciate each and every one of you, and until next time, it'll be Saturday at 1 p.m., which means we'll be on probably around 3:30. So until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real, Teal. Have a great night, everyone.